Okay, so I set up this demonstration here to show you exactly how our device works and how it saves you money on your electric bill. So what we have here, I'll walk you through it. What we have here is the wire coming in, is power coming into the board, this whole system. Goes through this meter. This represents the meter on the outside of your house. And we have it set on watts, which is the same thing that your meter on the outside of your home measures, is watts. It goes in through the switch and then comes into this wire and goes into this coil of wire. There's about 30 or 40 feet of wire, and then comes back down into this switch, which then goes to the meter, which is hooked up directly to the motor, so you can see exactly what the motor's consuming. Now that wire up there, what it does, it represents the wire in your home or business. This is part of what the inefficiency is in your setup. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it on. You can see we got a little flapper here to represent the motor's moving. Okay, motor's moving. I'm going to switch this over to watts. You'll notice right away the motor is only consuming 150 watts, but you're being billed for 172. Remember the inefficiency I talked about on the wiring. It's copper wiring. It's just inefficient. That's what it is. So the motor's running. The motor's consuming 152. Now what this is going to do when I turn it on, you notice the light's not on right now. When I turn it on, it's going to recycle the wasted electricity 60 times a second and feed it back to the motor. So it's kind of like recycling plastic. You take the wasted plastic that you were going to throw away and reuse it, and now you don't have to buy as much plastic. Same thing's going to happen here. You're going to recycle the electricity by feeding it back to the motor, so you don't have to buy as much from the power company to get the same job done. So I'm going to reach over and flip the switch on. You'll notice immediately the light comes on, and we've now dropped to almost match what you're actually using. That's how you're saving money.
Hello everyone, this is Richard here with Electric Saver 1200, and I'm here today to show you exactly how the Electric Saver 1200 works to save you money on your electric bill. Alright, so I've got my demo kit set up, and I'm going to show you what each of these different parts does. Alright, so this wire here represents the power that's coming in from your power company. Now it's going to go over here into this meter, which measures electricity in watts, just like the meter on your home or business does. Now from there, the electricity is going to go into this coil of wire, which is about 30 or 40 feet long, which simulates the wiring of your home or business. Comes down here into this box, which is attached to another meter, and this is going to measure the electricity that the motor here is using. Now this motor we got out of an air conditioning unit, so it's a very common motor that you have pretty much anywhere. And here's our unit hooked up, and more on that later. But let's get started, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, so I'm going to flip on the motor. I'm going to put this meter and set it to watts over here. Okay, so now as you can see that the power company is supplying you with about 175 watts of power, right? Yet the motor over here is only using 153 watts. Now, this difference comes from the wiring. Power is actually lost in the wiring, and Electric Saver 1200 works to correct this difference. So now we're going to turn the Electric Saver 1200 on. You see that the light comes on. And what you'll notice is that this meter is dropping to be pretty much around the same value as this meter. Now what the Electric Saver 1200 is doing is it's recycling the waste electricity and feeding it back into the motor at a rate of 60 times per second. So in doing so, you're actually using less electricity from the power company, even though your appliance is still drawing the same amount. And that's where your savings comes from.